Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe before you do anything else. Before you finish watching the video, just click that like button. Today we are going to be talking to you a little bit about Christmas.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about what our Christmas was like growing up and what we do for Christmas for the kids. But before we get into that, for those of you who are new around here, he's Ahmed and I'm Ruth. We've got two children, so our daughter Saffron, who is 20, and our son Junaid, who is 11. He'll be 12 in February. That's wild in itself. So that's a little bit about us. You can go back and have a look at some of our other videos to get to know us and the kids a little bit more. But I think we're ready to just dive on in.
Dive on in. When I was younger, I didn't know Christmas was a thing, to be honest. I grew up in West Africa. Go watch the Draw My Life video, gives you a little bit of a background of my life. Christmas wasn't really a big thing, so it wasn't until I came to the UK that I saw how big Christmas was.
And I was the complete opposite. If you think of the complete opposite end of the scale, Christmas was a big thing in my household. My mum was a big Christmas fan and did the whole traditional Christmas dinner, presents, hype, lights, all of that. So mine was the complete opposite. So when we got together, it's really interesting because Christmas for me is a big deal, and it's a big deal about family and being together and acknowledging the time of year and the whole, what used to be the whole world closed down on Christmas, right? All the shops were closed, everybody was at home. Whether you celebrated Christmas or not, from a religious perspective, everything was closed down. And it was that forced family time. That was kind of that's what it was like pre-COVID, isn't it? Like that was the 90s and 80s, day of COVID, the day of self-iso, where you're forced to be with your family.
It was Christmas that forced you to be with your family.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that when we came, that everything used to be shut down on Christmas. When we got to the UK, was
that weird? Like a weird
concept? It was a weird concept because even though we didn't, the concept of family was always there in terms of Christmas for growing up, because when it was Christmas time, we used to go get dressed in our Sunday best and go visit all the family. My brother, my cousins will just walk around going to visit all the family. So
whilst it wasn't like a commercial presents like what the Western world would traditionally class and as Christmas, it was more about that family.
Yeah, stuff. So the when you were saying the family thing, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, it was more about that. We will go around, go visit family members, and you will choose which ones you want to go. Otherwise, you'll be traveling for the whole day.
Especially your family. Yeah, there's a lot of you here. Me, it will take 20 minutes. We all live near each other, and there's not many of us. There's 5 kids, so.
Yeah. So that's what Christmas was like for us. It was family and presents, family and traveling. So when we got together, we didn't want to do too much for the kids. So each year we kind of choose a certain theme, but within all of that we make sure that being grateful is part of the whole theme.
Yeah.
Because we've seen where we came from in terms of presents and family and things like that, and we want to make sure that they appreciate that as well.
And when I say loads of presents, we did have loads of presents, but then it's all relative, right? We probably had about I'd say 15 presents each would probably be what we'd get like from our mum and dad. And that is a lot, that's a lot of presents. But then there is that caveat in there that all of those presents, well, 99.9% of those presents was probably from like the pound shop or pound stretcher. So they were like £1, £3. You know when you're little and like you can get away with like pound shop, nail varnish and a few hairbands and you were gassed. Do you know what I mean? So we had a lot of stuff in regards to presents that we got, but growing up in a household where me and my brother just lived with our mum, it meant that she had to budget as well.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff, but we weren't out here getting like. Well, I remember we'd always see like what your neighbours got and what your friends got, and it was always kind of the next bracket up, if that makes sense, or the next few brackets up. But we were grateful for what we got because we got presents and we were with our family. So I suppose with all of that said, should we give them a little bit, a couple of examples of different type of Christmas? So this Christmas, I'll probably call this Christmas our commercial Christmas.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like we did the stereotypical Western commercial Christmas this year, and it was amazing. And we've also done other different types of Christmases.
Yeah. One of the Christmases that we did that I really liked was you can choose 3 presents. We said one thing that you need, one thing that you want, and I can't remember what was the third
And
thing.
one thing you can read.
One thing you can read. Need, want, and read. And we did that, and that was really good because it meant that
they had to really think about the thing that they wanted.
yeah,
What is the thing that we want this year more than anything else? And that was your one thing.
yeah. And then we got to read the book together as well.
And
so
that was
that's
spending
quite
time
good.
together.
Yeah.
And then something they needed. I think that year they both chose. No, she chose. I think she chose shoes, new pair of shoes, and he chose a new coat or something
New
like
coat,
that. It was
yeah.
clothing. I remember. Both of it was clothing, which was interesting. One of the Christmases that really stands out. There's 2, which is really interesting, and that's both of them are travel ones. So when we went to Spain for Christmas,
Yeah.
because I remember Junaid saying to me, "Mum, how amazing! It's Christmas Day and we're swimming in a pool." I remember that, and then. Also the New York, when we went to New York.
Yeah.
And New York for a different reason. I think that in my mind, I'd kind of gassed up New York so much. Like, oh my God, going to New York for Christmas, New York, New York. Like, I thought it was going to be Home Alone. And I think it goes to show that for me, personally, and a lot of people have said, go to New York without kids and your experience will be different. So with that caveat in mind, for me, New York was a letdown. It just wasn't as magical as I thought it was going to be. One of the reasons it stands out for me is the lesson that I learned that it didn't matter where we were in the world, that we were together. And that year, the kids didn't have a lot of presents. They had a handful of presents because, kgs and luggage is a thing. So they didn't have a lot of physical presents. And New York was one of the biggest presents. Saffron's always wanted to go to America, so it was kind of like, let's all go. And it just showed me that the place that you are in can be a letdown or not meet your expectations, but we were together and we found so much stuff to do and we had so much fun. We just went exploring, didn't we?
Yeah, we just walked around.
We just walked so much.
Went to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
We walked around close to...
The Statue of Italy.
Statue of Italy.
That's what Junaid called it.
We went to the Statue of Italy. Yeah, so there was quite a lot, and then Junaid got wheelies, but we got them way before Christmas, and then he just had a growth spurt.
Oh, here's another present. Let me open this. That way, I could charge it.
Show Daddy that. Do it. The light messes up your eyes. What are they?
Hey, the glow shoes.
And something else. Open them up.
The car. I'll run out. Don't violate me, Saffron. Please. Hold on, don't open it yet. Show Daddy.
So which meant the wheelies didn't fit him, but he squashed his foot in there.
He said that they did.
And he said, "Oh no, they're fine, they fit." And I ended up having to carry him on my neck for pretty much half the...
You had the whole luxury of having him on you.
For the whole journey, because his feet were hurting, but he didn't want to take them off. So
And we were saying, we'll buy you new shoes, just take them off. And he's like, no, they're fine.
no, they're fine. And again, that's memories that we can always remember and tell.
And Spain, what stands out for me, apart from Junaid saying it's amazing that we're swimming in the pool on Christmas Day, was he had a phase. He was about 3 when we went to Spain, isn't it, for Christmas? Yeah, it was about 3, and it was a year before he turned 3, and he had this thing where he had the claw. So everything he did involved his pointy finger. He literally had hardly any fingernail on it. It was so bumpy. I think
He
it
used
had
to just-
fallen off about 4 times. He'd bit it. Anything he ate, he would eat his dinner and then scoop up ketchup and then put the ketchup in. It was just so, everything was with the claw.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's the year I remember that, because when we went to Spain, that's when he had the claw.
Claw,
So it's
yeah.
not necessarily being in Spain, it's the,
It's
Saffron
again-
was annoyed with us because we went for an hour walk and she didn't talk to anyone for the whole hour. She was livid in it, do you remember? She was kicking right off.
We'll put a picture of it.
I think we've got
a
some
picture. We've
pictures.
got
If we
some
do, we'll
pictures.
put one in.
We might not have a picture of her face because she was so far away. She just
Yeah, she walked off. She was
Yeah.
livid, mate.
Yeah.
She had wanted
Saffron
no part
doesn't
of that.
walk. She doesn't.
Nope, they're alone
she
for an
doesn't
hour.
walk.
And do you know what? Spain at in December, it's cold. It's not summer. It's cold. It was freezing.
We tried to venture to the beach, but nothing, and it was just windy, and
Yeah.
we
We
stayed.
got blown in the road.
Pretty
Remember?
much stayed in the hotel.
We stayed in the hotel, went to the shopping mall, walked
Yeah.
around, found little cafes, and had like hot chocolates and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it was the memories. So that's kind of, I suppose, 3 examples. And then this year we decided to do the commercial Christmas.
Yeah.
We sing